So we lived on an island for about 5 days or so. So we were fully surrounded by water. We had rescue boats pull up to our deck. My brother even tried fishing off of our deck. We were on our own little island with the water right up to where we lived. Both of our cars got lost to the floods. All of our gas bottles, because our house runs on gas, that's cooking. All of them floated around and floated away a little bit. We watched houses go down the river and huge torrents of water. And then once all the water finally went away, I remember walking on the golf course with all of the huge upturned trees that used to be there, like huge gum trees and things, where the actual trunk was larger than me, and it was very surreal walking through a wasteland where everything was covered in like a thin film, not quite soot, but just like sediment left over from the river. And it was very surreal walking on a path that we used to walk every day with our dog, but now it looked like after a nuclear fallout. It was very wild.
Yes, I wasn't able to go home for a couple of days. I had to stay with my grandma. The worst part was my grandma didn't have internet. That was my suffering.
The only real thing I remember was just being hungry all the time because we couldn't get access to food.
Where I lived, we were pretty much, it was not too far away. The Logan River got very, very big, and the park down the road ended up being 90% water. But actually where I lived, we weren't cut off. We didn't have any major dramas from it.
Yes, I remember distinctly Moggle Road at Chapel Hill. The water came up from the river, and it also came down from the heights of Chapel Hill down on, and it all sort of met around the Shell service station, and it came across the road there. So I certainly was cut off, and I just remember the incredible community spirit that sort of transpired, and we see that in any of these natural disasters where people come together to help.
The flooding, I lived in the Gold Coast when the flooding of 2011 was, and I lived on the water at Oxenford. I think we were cut off a little bit on the Mount Tambourine Road, but ourselves, the flood didn't reach our house, but there was a horse stuck on our jetty, which we looked over the lake, so we had to go down steps to the jetty, and somebody was knocking on our door at about 6 in the morning to say there was a horse caught on the wires. So there was people down there already, and they were helping the horse to come on our lower landing of the garden. They managed to float the horse to that landing, but when the water went down, they didn't realise that the steps right down to the water, and they tried to back the horse out, and it fell in between the steps and the wall and broke its leg, and we had to have the vet in to put it down, which was an awful thing because we had all the family of who owned it, and they were all so upset. It was a very bad time. Yes, yeah, we had all the the newspaper and the media there, and and all the street, and we had a swimming pool, and the gate was open, and they all walked along, and they didn't realise that the pool was full, and they all kept dropping into the pool as they walked along.
So all their equipment went in the pool.
The street the whole street come to have a look on the top there, because they could see it all, and they had to pass the pool, but they didn't realise it was there because it was overflowing, and down they went.
Like lemmings off a cliff.
In floods or emergencies or tragedy, the good people always come out. There's a lot of good in people. We tend to focus on bad people, negative people, but really there's more positive people and they all come out and help. It was just wonderful how everybody came out to help each other.
We had a generator. So you just needed an extension cord and you could, plug in the TV or just something to watch a movie. Yeah, charge your laptop, I don't think I had a phone at the time, but yeah, definitely charge a computer or something. So that was, I think, just a lot of board games, even though you were very bored.
So it's kind of like a mini COVID?
Yes, exactly. But I definitely heard about the helicopters, like dropping off food, because Bellbarry. But that was about all I heard. I was quite removed from the news. I was just in my own world.
Okay, so no, the location where I was living at the time, we weren't cut off, so I still went to work every day.
Yes, I was stranded for 3 days, all by myself with my 2 cats. But in honesty, it was for me it was a wonderful three days. I had a full I had a full fridge. I had a full beer fridge. The family were cut off on the other side of the river. Absolutely brilliant.
But you still miss them.
Oh yes, absolutely.
I remember so it wasn't as bad as for other people, because I remember afterwards with the cleanup, cleaning up people's houses, and there was one time when I was cleaning up at Bellbarry on down the bottom of the hill there, and we were just shoving stuff into the back of the truck, and it's obviously people's belongings, and there's photos and all sorts of stuff, and it's just all of these people's memories and what have you, and just getting shoved in. And right then I pulled up was the family who lived in the house, and they just returned from New Zealand. So you just saw firsthand the big expression on their faces of the horror of seeing all of their stuff just piled up at the front, and these people, these complete strangers, just chucking their stuff into the back of the truck.
Particularly in the clean-up, as I mentioned earlier, going out on that first weekend after the waters had receded with the mud army, and just to see the absolutely thousands and thousands of people either in the, cleaning up those who'd been affected, the people who were there providing, sandwiches and drinks for the residents or the clean-up crew. The way that the whole town, the city came together post that event was absolutely remarkable.
I believe you even received a certificate from the Lord Mayor at the time.
Oh yes, along with all the other participants, yes.
I think the media covered it really, really well. That was the clean-up crew, so the Mud Army. But there were so many different organisations that got together and, took up donations for people who were cut off. There were food drops done by helicopter, there were rescues done by the helicopters. I think a lot of the community just got together and really helped each other out in that sort of time.
I know I got cut off from my house, so I had to stay at my grandmother's house instead, but I don't think we were cut off from food or any other services, so I think we were pretty well off.
No, I didn't personally, because I'm on a hill, so we're pretty safe where we were. But there was a lot of places you couldn't get to, and a lot of our friends' places that were cut off.
There was the SCS who helped everyone with sandbags around their homes, but that didn't personally affect me.
Events like that bring out the best and the worst in people, so.
We did get cut off personally, however, we still had our neighbours around us, our house was safe, and essentially the only sort of impression I got was that it was a very sort of eerie type silence, but I think people did come together a lot during the flood, and for that reason, and because we were particularly safe, it didn't impact my life in a great
Yeah, 2011 floods was different. We were cut off, but we had power. It was very surreal because it really didn't affect us, and we almost got like survivor guilt when we're allowed to get through, and we couldn't get through to Kenmore, but we could get through to Belbarry. So as soon as we could get through, we did, and helped as many people as we could clean up.
Yes, we did get cut off. Fortunate for us, we still had power, so nothing really changed for us. It was just the local people that, because Belbarry's just down the road about 15 minutes away. My kids really didn't realise what was going on. We could see it on TV, but afterwards with the clean-up, everybody just came out and went down there to help people, and they just went from door to door asking people if they wanted help. It was good to see so many people helping those which have just had so much misfortune.